I think for some reason people think the Department of Education was around forever, right? Was actually started in 1978. So obviously we're doing something right before then. Like we still had schools and making grades and building like physics and different things, right? So it started in 1978, and now President Trump did an executive order to get rid of it, right? And there's a lot of people like trying to fight to keep it around. So what's your take on that?
Yes, I think one thing is Department of Education. It depends on what kind of horizon people are saying for forever, and I argue really what we have for the current education were not around forever was the byproduct of industrial revolution, was the byproduct of for companies to actually train factory workers to excel at their factory worker or manufacturing job, but then it become obsolete because with machines, right? Um, but while if we take the history way back in time, if we take Socrates, the Greek philosophies, and all those Aristotle time, was the education at that time was radically different. And what Socrates really emphasized is really learning through conversation, learning through debates, learning through asking questions, learning, and it's really start from a demand. And he never talked about memorization. He never talked about sitting in a classroom with other 30 students, with a teacher talking about the teacher thing teaching you in front of you. And he never talked about judging like a student's value based on like a test scores. So those things are new things that are being invented after industrial revolution actually. And with the Department of Education going away, I think there are short term. I actually think it's both short term and long term positive, but there are some short term. It's long term, short term net positive, but there are some short term problems with. I see some fellow educators pointing out that there are certain scholarship going away for underprivileged kids. There are certain financial aid going away from for certain research and for certain things that actually matter for kids who wouldn't afford it in the first place. However, in the going away from Department of Education will allow a range of different things, including making the education market more free, including making education more like a free market, and including getting rid of the monopoly that traditional K-12 education have. And that was actually being pointed out by Steve Jobs decades ago, by 1990 something. He pointed out